yelled after him and tried to catch his hand, but the other Pivian was already out of reach. He cursed and tried to steady himself as Clint just stood there, as if he had no intention of fighting back. The Pivian spear flew straight at Clint's chest with all the weight and power the attacker could muster. Clint was no pushover, and far from anything Earth was able to create. He was a monster, not just by look. No, Clint had become a monster. He swiped the spear away with his right claw as if it was a toothpick. The Pivian lost his balance and Clint just tripped him, then twisted around and brought his claws up through the attacker's neck, killing him instantly. Blood gushed from the gaping hole as the body still twitched. Clint's eyes never left Morrison Getz. He shook the blood from his claw and took another step forward. "Your kind will never find peace here, monster. You're a doomed race," the Pivian raged as thunder rolled through the plains. It was the only zone they still possessed, as the humans had taken them all. Clint weighed the words, letting them roll over his tongue. He thought of several different comebacks, but was too tired for witty remarks. The fight against the Pivians had lasted for hours, and all he wanted to do was take a bath, get a drink, and lay down to rest. "You're better than this, Morrison Get. Enough of the cheap jabs. Finish this!" Morrison Get narrowed his eyes and charged Clint with his two-handed sword. His steps were heavy, leaving deep tracks in the mud. Clint knew that Morrison was by far the strongest of the remaining Pivians, and still a force to be wary of. Jav Master, they had called him, a title he never got the chance to research. Natalie would tell him later, though, he knew. Clint switched to his defensive mode, the 3 plates around his last arm extending and creating a large shield. A second later, the two-handed sword slammed into it, eliciting a grunt from Clint. He felt the strength behind the attack, but after the initial shock had passed, he nodded to himself. "Can't say I'm impressed, Get." The 2 chains shot out from his back and coiled around the Pivian's legs, then forced him to stumble. Morrison slipped on the mud and dropped on his side. Instead of following up with a deadly attack, Clint waited for the fighter to get up again and fight. He deserved a warrior's death, after all. Anyone who faced him did in his eyes. The alien struggled to his feet and grunted, letting out a stream of curses through the splatter of rain. He readied himself for another charge, the one that would end it all. "You've become weak, Morrison. See, the man I let live last time was far stronger than that." The Pivian said nothing and darted in, bringing the massive two-handed sword down across Clint's chest. He put his left arm up, using the shield to deflect the overhead swing. "Come on, Morrison. I cut off your legs, remember? Put some power behind your attacks. Where's the hate? Where's the rage?" Clint's voice was low and hoarse. Sarian had partially taken over, but only when it came to speech. The massacre had all been just him. Clint dodged the Pivian's attacks masterfully despite his size and the speed at which the attacks came. The alien stopped and gathered himself. He eyed the human monster, mind racing. Clint could see the mental cogs in his mind whir as he tried to come up with another approach. Anything he could throw at the human was futile, though. Overtaken by anger, Morrison Get charged again, letting out a shrill battle cry. His two-hander came down and slammed against Clint's claws, rattling his bones with every clash. Morrison pushed hard, roaring as he entered into a whirlwind attack, swinging the massive blade in a circular motion and threatening to cut through Clint. Clint timed his charge and moved in just as the sword moved past him. His shield came up and slammed into Get's chin, knocking him off balance. The Pivian almost dropped his sword as he stepped back and tried to catch himself. "What is it, Jav Master? I thought you would have your revenge." "Shut your mouth, you